Staying with the topic of streaming and sports in Africa, we are now joined by Taha Diaye, a partner and managing director at Sports Makers in Cairo, Egypt, and Mr. Solomon Tombeni, sport and recreation researcher, policy analyst, and doctoral candidate at the University of Johannesburg. Gentlemen, welcome to Sports Scene. Thank you for taking time out to speak to us. Let me start with you, Taha, if you can hear me. The rights to the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup have been bought by YouTube TV. Tell us why this is a game changer for global sports streaming.
Yes, actually, hello. Of course, the YouTube TV channel and live streaming for the World Cup or for any live events, it's a game changer because it's totally different than the traditional cable TV network. Why? Because it's not only about the service itself to see your favorite games, but also comes with the features of the YouTube TV channel. Because for the live sports events especially, there are significant and remarkable changes coming as an added value for your subscription. And so, for example, if you look at a live sport event with your YouTube live channel, you will have the ability to have unlimited recording via the DVR cloud system that they give you with your subscription free of charge. And this is a very important thing. If you are, watching the football games, especially in the World Cup, with you have a lot of games, and sometimes you have work, you cannot watch your favorite game, so you can just put the system for recording wherever you want from games, and when you come back from work or whatever you want, you can come back and see the games again and again. And this is actually for only, you will have your own library even for not only for one game and the last one, but for forever. And this is actually very good. Even after your subscription is expired, you can keep your library for 9 months. Can you imagine? This is actually a great added value that's not available on the TV, of course. And on the other hand, you can find also there is a great feature, which is each account come with 6 subscribers from the same, like 1 subscribers, and you can have 6 accounts for your family members. And you can actually watch at the same time like 3 different categories or channels or activities at the same time. So you don't have to fight with your kids or whatever, your friend or your brother for your favorite game. This is also an extra feature that is coming for YouTube. So you have a lot of things. One of the things is picture in picture as well. And this is when I'm speaking about the normal or the normal user. But when it comes to business as well, from a business point of view, you have an amazing feature that is, there are debates now for that you can have a pointer on your favorite player. You can again, making like a brief about his favorite moments during the game. And you can actually tie this with another apps and programs that making a data analysis. Can you imagine? This will change a lot in the game because it becomes not only a business to customer product, but it's a business to business. A lot of agents, a lot of football clubs will use that as well for the data analysis. Now they have the games, they can record the games, and they can even attach this with a lot of things. So yeah. Well, so it's a game changer.
Well, yeah. Taha, all I can say is, wow, very enlightening and insightful. Don't go away. I've got another question for you, but first, I want to get Solomon into this conversation. Solomon, thanks for standing by. Solomon, Meta, who own Facebook, among others, and Amazon are trying to secure the rights to the English Premier League that is widely followed in Africa. What potential effect will this have on the continent where most fans' coverage converge to watch these games at social joints? Solomon?
Thank you very much, and good evening to all the viewers. Well, what I think is happening is something that is very phenomenal, because throughout history in Africa, you will see that we don't have a lot of viewing of sport, because what you see is, firstly, when you look at the background of broadcasting or sports broadcasting, at first, sport was watched from a free-to-view channels on TV, and then broadcasting rights became expensive, whereby your pay-per-view broadcasting channels took up the rights of sport, which we also see in South Africa, whereby in the National Soccer League, it's actually owned by, or the rights are owned by the DSTV, which is a monopoly. So by involving other streaming services into those whole sectors and all these players coming in, it means now sport will be more accessible to more and more Africans, because currently, as it stands, sport is still not, especially the EPL, English Premier League, it's still not accessible to a vast majority of Africans because it is expensive. So through this competition that's coming in and the streaming services, one thing we know, almost each and every person in Africa could have a cell phone, even in the most remote areas. So I foresee a lot more people having access to viewing sport, and a lot more people having access to sport as a whole. So I think this is a good thing for Africa. Even in terms of social joins, there are those live stream channels whereby I can be sitting in Gauteng and you can be sitting in Nigeria, and we can both watch sport at the same time and actually be able to communicate and talk about the results and all those things. So there are those, it does offer those features in terms of the streaming of sport. So what I think is this is a good thing for Africa, and also it will be cheaper for Africans to access sport, because one thing we know about pay-to-view broadcasting, that like we see on TV, it comes at a hefty price. For me to take up a subscription to DSTV, I have to pay 900 rands for me to be able to view a lot of games, football from EPL or the Spanish league. So with live streaming, it is much cheaper because you will only be paying for what you want to see. So it is much cheaper and it's more convenient for everyone, and you can watch sport from anywhere at any time of your choice. So
all right, Solomon, I'm going to have to interject here and pass the baton right back to Taha. We have so many questions, so little time, so we're going to have to be very brief about it. Taha, this question is for you. Are Africans ready to make the migration from traditional subscription TV to pay-as-you-watch streams? How do you see it?
Yes, it's a good question. Actually, now it's revolutionary now, as the so-called cutting the cord, like everybody is cutting the cable and moving, to the live streaming instead of the traditional TV cable networks. But when it comes to Africa, there are some challenges, I believe. I mean, one of the main challenges is the infrastructure itself, the infrastructure of the internet, because, a lot of challenges when it comes to the speed of the internet in many countries still at the moment. The second thing is the cyber crimes. I mean, the cyber crimes now, people are afraid to use their credit cards sometimes in a lot of places in Africa. There's still the culture, a lot of crimes related to their networks, so they are afraid to buy something. Even they believe they want to buy the product, but they cannot use the card because they are afraid of the cyber crime. This is the second challenge. The third challenges would be the piracy. The piracy they used to have a piracy for content. And this is a culture that is like everybody have available other alternatives to see the same content without paying the money. And this needs an extra legal actions as well to overcome this piracy and give the chance for people to use illegal platforms. But
well said, Taha. I'm also going to
with
have to
a
interject
challenge
here.
on the other side.
Sorry to interject there, Taha. I just want to give Solomon his last brief statement. My final question is to you, Solomon. Esports is now part of the Commonwealth Games. What does this mean for those who want to pursue a sporting career in gaming? That's my final question to you, Solomon.
Well, it's actually great that esports is part of the Commonwealth Games. It gives it much more recognition now as an official sport, which is great. Because in South Africa, for instance, esport is still not a popular sport. It's still in its introductory stage. You know, there's only a few schools and universities that offer esport as a sport. So it's not yet a formal sports program. So I think by South African athletes participating at Commonwealth Games, for instance, it will give them international exposure so that if they want to pursue a career within the esports arena, they can be recognized internationally by countries such as the US and European countries, whereby esports are much more popular and are much more played at a professional level. And in that way, they can actually make a living for themselves by just getting that exposure. So I think it is fairly a great thing that it's part of the Commonwealth Games, and I hope one day it will be part of the Olympic Games. Thank you very much.